Welcome back. I'm your host, as always, Harry Wilmington. Welcome to the Introvert Dating Success Show. Yes, I took a month off because I had some traveling to do, some other various things. As you can see, while I was off, I managed to start a new show called Harry Dating Conversations that I put out as more of a daily show for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying that. But I am happy to be back doing these lives. I had some time to rest and relax. And, during the course of the last month, I went back through all my comments, and as much as I enjoy all the guys out there that agree with all the stuff that I'm putting out there, there have been several comments over the last few months that have also been people that have either, I'll say, critiqued some of the stuff I put out there, or just straight up disagree with it, or maybe just want some clarification on some stuff. And so I had planned to do this show prior to me taking a break. And then I honestly figured during the course of the break, I'd have more people commenting about things that they disagreed with so I could do this show. So as a service to all those people that have disagreed with me, I ultimately just like the conversation. I like people having differing opinions because it allows me to either double down on stuff that I've taught to you guys, or rethink some things and then maybe come to a different conclusion. But ultimately, I just like being in this space where I can talk to you guys about what you agree with, what you disagree with. So this show today is going to be primarily about that. I have several comments up here that I got over the last month or so that I'm going to read, and then I'm going to talk about those comments and where my thoughts stand with those, all right? Ultimately, this show is always about you guys. So in the course of this show, if you have any questions you want to ask me during the course of the show, you can leave them down in the comments. Ideally, you'll leave it as part of a super chat to help sponsor the show and help it grow. But yeah, you can leave a question down in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer it. And we already have a super chat comment, which I will answer in a minute. As always, guys, you can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com. If you have any coaching questions that you want me to help you with, one-on-one coaching I offer ebooks, audiobooks, programs, all those wonderful things to help you date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. All right. So with all that said, let's go ahead and jump right in. I hear ambulances and police sirens outside my door. So there's something going on out there. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. Hopefully you can't, but it is what it is. So anyway, so before we get to answering critiques, we're going to go ahead and answer this person's question. So the question this guy left is, hey, coach, my girlfriend is going to a family trip for 2 months. Any tips on making her maintain a high level of attraction until she is back? Now, this is an interesting question, especially this time of year. And I will definitely be doing my annual How to Date During the Holiday show. It's a show I do every single year because these are the kind of things that happen either when you're starting to date a new person or you've been in a relationship with a person that's relatively new, and then the holidays come up. And the holidays mean people are traveling. They can't always be home. And so that can make you confused as to what the heck are you supposed to do in order to make sure that that person still likes you when they're not in front of your face every day. And this is what I call the fallacy of male thinking, because we think in our logical brains that in order for a woman to continue her like for us, we must be in front of her face all the time. We must be the ones that are doing actions in order to continually pull their attention. We forget that women have memories like elephants, and that I try to stress to you guys, once a woman has a high interest level, it's going to be very, very hard for her to forget you, because part of how she's remembering you is tied to how you made her feel. And feelings can transcend time, all right? Just a small example, my parents were married for 13 years before my dad died. He was in the Army. So there would be times where my dad would literally have to fly out of the country to go to a Korea or go to a Kuwait or some other place to train other people there about various techniques of things. I wasn't in the Army. I don't know what he was teaching them. But the point is that he would go out of town for 2, maybe 3 weeks at a time. And this is back when texting didn't exist yet. And a long distance phone call from the US to anywhere in the world could cost hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars. And so what that meant was that there would be 3 weeks at a time where my dad just could not talk to my mom, couldn't reach out to her, couldn't call her. I guess he could probably write her, but by the time he wrote her in the mail, got here, he'd be already back home. So it would just be, there'd be 3 weeks where they wouldn't talk to each other. I can assure you that my mom did not fall out of love with my dad, and my dad's been dead for 33 years now, or 32 years now, and she still has all the love in the world for him to this day. Why? Because when women have high interest, their feelings transcend time. So I say this because I don't want you stressing about if I can't contact her every day, or if I'm not in front of her face every day, she's going to lose interest. I've had the experience of being able to date women whereby I didn't contact them for, maybe we had like a break and I didn't contact them for like months on end or weeks on end or sometimes years on end. And then when I reach back out, it's like time hasn't passed at all. All right. But in terms of your relationship, right, I still go by the mantra of, because it's going to, while she's on vacation, it's going to probably, I imagine, be mostly like you guys trying to text each other. And the mistake you don't want to make is thinking because she's out of town, you now got to resort to being the one to initiate text every single day. I still live by the 3-to-1 ratio, which means for every 3 times that she initiates text, then you initiate text. That is a balance enough to where she's still coming towards you, and that, especially if she's on vacation, you're not going to know when's a good time to reach her because she's going to be talking with family. She's going to be out on a trip somewhere. She's going to be doing activities. And what you don't want to do is be that boyfriend that's like, well, even though you're doing things to other people, you still need to talk to me and being on your phone all the time. And if you're not, then you're probably not thinking about me or cheating. That is the signs of an insecure man, and she's going to start to lose interest. So what I say is this, is that when she reaches out to you, that's when you can have a conversation, you know? And then again, 3-to-1. So let her reach out or initiate a conversation with you 3 times. And then that one time you reach out, hey, babe, you know, I know you're doing stuff today. Just wanted to say I was thinking about you. Hope you're having a great time. Now, at that point, when you send that message, you're sending it in a way where you're saying, I'm not forcing you in this moment to have a conversation with me, but it's enough of an opener to where if she has free time in that moment, then yeah, she can report back with you and you guys can talk or whatever. Also, very important, don't try to spend a long time on the phone with her. What I mean by that is that, you're not trying to force the agenda of her having to constantly be on the phone nonstop. So let's say, for example, she reaches out to you, hey, babe, hope you're having a great time. I'm having a great time with my family. You reach back, hey, that's so great. You know, how's the family doing? Her responds back, oh, it's doing so great. You know, we're doing whatever. You know, then you guys have a little banter for a bit. And then there's going to be a point where you send her something, she sends an LOL, or you'll start to notice that as you're texting her, it went from like these long sentences to like maybe like 2 or 3 words. That's an indication. Not that she's bored with you, but that she's ready for the conversation to wind down because she has other things going on in front of her. So when she sends you that LOL or that smiley face emoji, that's it. Just stop the conversation. Stop the conversation and then wait until the next time that she reaches back out to you, okay? Because you're not going to be the boyfriend that's going to impede upon her time with other people in the family, all right? So if you do that, then you'll still be able to have a banter rapport with her. But during this time also recognize she's with other people. It's not a slight to you, but she can't concentrate on you and the family at the same time. And a lot of girls, they feel some kind of way about the fact that they feel obligated to have to text or be in a texting conversation with their boyfriends all the time because they know he's going to get butthurt if she doesn't reach out at all. And so don't be that guy. Be like, hey, you can tell her before the vacation, hey, you know what? Have a great time. I understand you're going to be with family, so I would love to hear from you and talk to you. But if you're also busy with family, I'm not going to hold it against you. I just know I'm here whenever you're wanting to talk. And then from there on, while she's gone, hey, you get back to your life with your buddies, with your friends. You start going back to some of your goals. Keep yourself distracted so you're not feeling this pull to have to text her all the time. But then again, when she reaches out, you respond back, have a little banter, and then 3-to-1. For every 3 times she initiates a conversation, then you initiate one. Occasionally send something that's like, hey, like, just wanted to see how you're doing. Hope all's well. And leave it at that. Send a few emojis here and there. Hey, beautiful, missing you. Hope you're having a great time. But that's it, okay? Don't be too overbearing. And I found that has worked for me when I've been in relationships with women where it's like, if I go away or they go away, I don't stress it. But I find that when I'm not the one trying to constantly initiate conversation, they initiate it way more than I do. And it ends up being a better balance as a result, okay? But also recognize that while she's gone, you want her to miss you. Like, women's interest in you grows bigger in your absence. So if you're constantly trying to text or initiate all the time, that can cause it to start to lose interest, which is why I say it's better for her to be the one that's initiating more often than you are. If you're doing too much initiation, it's going to start to look like you're needy for her attention and you can't do without her and all this other stuff, and it's not going to look good, all right? So if you do that ratio I talked about, you should be good. So hopefully, guy, this helps you out. So with that said, let's get on to some critiques. So there's this guy that's been critiquing on several of my videos. And again, I appreciate getting critiques, but he also at times sounds like maybe he hasn't had the best situation with women to where his view of women in general is pretty jaded. And hey, I used to be the same way, especially in my early 20s when it's like I was trying to figure out how women function and operate, and I just could not figure it out. And I thought they were all crazy and whatever. And so I started to get very bitter and angry and annoyed as well. And once I started to better understand women, I kind of got out of that because I realized they just have their own way of thinking about things. They have their own way of moving about in the world that is dramatically different from how men have to do that, because there's things about their safety. There's things about the fact that they tend to be weaker muscularly. So they have to do things and maneuver in ways that oftentimes guys don't think about. And it can frustrate guys. Like, if you're a nice guy, for example, and you're coming to this woman trying to date her and she's doing all these moves that frustrate you, you might not be aware she's had to deal with all these jerks in the past that have caused her to act this way. So I say this because I'm going to read a couple of this guy's comments, and I just want you guys to have that perspective, all right? So the first comment this guy left, I did a video recently called Why Women Ghost. And in that video, I read through the text of this woman who had gone out with a guy who her best male friend had connected her with, thinking they'd be a good match. They went out. She said she wasn't feeling it. And so when he tried to hit her up, she basically was very nice and said, hey, I appreciate you taking me out. And it was a pretty decent time, but I don't see us doing anything further. I wish you nothing but the best. And this guy went off and said, it's just because you're a sick cancer patient, you're 35 plus, and you're a 6 at best, and you want a high value man, and you like all this horrible stuff. You can check that video out. It's the one I did before this one. But suffice to say, this woman went through it, right? So I was trying to give guys an example of the reason why women ghost is because they've had experiences like this where they try to nicely tell a guy, hey, it was a great date, but I'm just not feeling the spark there. And guys go off on these kind of women. And I brought up the story of my friend who he did the same thing happened to her. She was trying to go out with a guy and she wasn't feeling it. She said, hey, great time of the date, but whatever. And this dude ended up stalking her and harassing her on the phone for months on end, So I try to let you guys know because I don't want you guys to take ghosting personally. Sometimes it's not even about you or how much respect she has for you. It's about the fact that she's dealt with other a-holes that have brought threats to her life to where she's it's better for me to just not talk to him at all than to try to reasonably have a conversation with him about not having a spark. This guy responded and he said, I still don't agree with your opinion on ghosting. She rejected the guy and it's not our fault he took it personally. I still take it personally when someone shows interest in ghost. Be an adult and gracefully reject the guy. And if he goes overboard like that guy did, then immediately block, especially if there is significant distance where she shouldn't fear for her safety if he goes ape crap. She should have immediately blocked him after, but she's still engaged in responding. She clearly has her own issues to deal with. So this is very much a perspective of a guy that is not taking into account a woman's experience in this realm and also the other various factors that surrounded this situation to where that couldn't happen. So in this person's situation, she met him through a friend that they both have in common, right? So when he says, be an adult and gracefully reject the guy, and if he goes overboard like that guy did, then immediately block him, he's not taking into account the fact that there's going to be some point in the future where all these people gather together again. And she's thinking, man, you know what? I didn't have a good time on a date with this guy, but he's my friend's friend also. There's going to be a point in time where we probably all are back in the same place again, and I don't want there to be any bad vibes. And I don't want it to reflect badly on my friend should we meet up again. So you know what? I still have to be reasonable with this guy and be able to cordially turn him down for the sake of his friendship with my friend and my friendship with this guy, right? And so when that dynamic is there, she can't just be like, I'm going to immediately block him. Also to the point, men don't think about the fact that, men that are trying to really get their way with a woman, even one that doesn't want them anymore, is going to find ways to contact her. Like in the case of my friend, she actually did block the guy. And all he did was just get a burner phone and text her from that one. And then when she blocked that number, he got another phone. And he had 7 different numbers he was able to contact her from. So then he says, okay, well, if there's significant distance where she shouldn't fear for her safety, The problem is these days, for most people, you can go online, type in somebody's name, and pull up their address, their phone number, their email, where they work, the salary that they make. Like, internet's pretty ridiculous in terms of like the stuff you can find out about somebody just by surfing the name online, right? So even if she did block him, he could just go online, type up her name. Oh, she lives here. Oh, she works here. And now she's got even more of a problem. And that's not information that she even gave out to him. Okay. So this is why I tell you guys that you don't understand the world of hurt that women deal with, the amount of guys that try to stalk them, that try to overrun them, that try to overpower them, that when they try to be nice and cordial and say, hey, I had a great time, but I'm just not feeling it, that how many guys get butthurt by that and try to harass them and send them loads of texts. Like that guy, because he says he should just, well, she was still like trying to talk and engage with him. The text I read, he was texting her at night, and she responded a little bit, and then she stopped. And he texted her for the next day and a half straight until she was like, dude, like, what are you doing? And even then, she was still trying to be cordial. But the point is that she did ignore him, and he still continued to let on. So again, what if she blocks him? Now he's going to get another burner phone because he already has her number and is going to hit her up on that, continue to text, continue to harass her. Like, this is why this is why women are more apt to ghost you, because the few times that they give a guy the grace to say, I'm just not feeling it, this kind of stuff happens. And just with the women that I know, I've heard this kind of story enough to where I'm like, you know what? If I go out with a girl and it doesn't work out and I try to reach out to her and she doesn't hit me back, I'm not trying to send triple, or I might send like one more text like, hey, everybody there, hello. But I'm not sending triple, quadruple, quintuple text for a woman that's clearly not interested, especially when there are other women out there that I can go after if this one's not feeling me. But so because of that, I'm not gonna be butthurt if a woman decides to ghost me. I'm gonna be relatively indifferent. I might be like, oh, it sucks. It would have been nice if it worked out. Okay, on to somebody else. Like, I'm not gonna spend my energy on somebody that doesn't want me. But more importantly, she has the capacity to be able to date whoever she wants, if it's just like I do. So if it's not me, then I'm not gonna fight for that. I'm just gonna be like on to somebody else and give her her right to be able to find somebody without me sitting here and trying to harass her and make her feel like she's about to get extremely harmed on account of I get butthurt because she didn't want to date me. So that's why, and he's saying, oh, she has her own issues to deal with, but no, she handled this in the most graceful way that she possibly could and still got harassed. So at some point, guys, we got to look at ourselves and realize our egos are going to be butthurt when it doesn't work out with the woman that we thought it should have worked out with. That does not give us the right to go after them in a harmful way, you know? So that was that comment they left. Then this guy left this other comment, and it was under my video, how women can be flirty yet not see you as their boyfriend. And in that video, I talked about this, and there's a story of this guy where he'd been flirting with this girl on and off, and he thought maybe she was interested. Turns out she wasn't, but they went to a party, and she was like, hey, let's go to the car. Maybe I can give you a handy in the car. And then they got to the car, and she was like, I was just joking, and she didn't give him a handy, and he felt some kind of way about it. And these days, guys, my general position with women is this, is that I have to show up and be indifferent, because women, their moods fluctuate, their hormones fluctuate. At any given time, a woman could change her mind on a situation. You know, us guys, we're pretty much like, once we make a decision to do something, we're going to do it. If we say we're going to go out with the girl tonight and hook up with her, our whole agenda that night now is to go out with her, to hook up with her, and very few things are going to change that outside of like, maybe she smells really bad down there, or she says something about her mama. Like, we're on the agenda, right? But because, again, I've had the experience of most women are in ebb and flow, and things can change on a dime. I've had it where I'm hooking up with the girl, and midway through, she gets her feelings, and it's like, but wait, is this just about the hookup? And now she wants to stop. And I could be that guy that's like, no, I'm already inside you. Like, we got to keep doing stuff. I've literally at times full stopped, pulled out, and said, hey, let's talk. What's going on? Because regardless of how I feel about a thing, if you're dealing with somebody whose mood is going to be fluctuating, then you have to learn that that's going to happen. And however things roll, you go with the punches. Now, I've ironically enough found that, like, when I do go with the punches, that women typically tend, whatever feeling they were having about something, like, oh, we should be doing this, and that. I'm like, okay, cool, do. Then they're kind of like, oh, it almost like it short circuits their brain. It's like, oh, he's cool with me just stopping and changing my mind. Okay, great. Now I'm going to go back to the thing we were doing, because now that I know that he's not butthurt by it and is not going to like hurt me before for whatever, now I'm going to do some stuff. So I find just like by being indifferent and rolling with the punches, they tend to get on my program after all. Like if I'm trying to go for a hookup and the woman's like, oh, I don't know, but like, okay, cool, then it's like, now they want to hook up. And to guys, it's completely frustrating. But again, the more you know how women operate, the less frustrated you'll be when these kind of things happen. But I was saying that thing like, yeah, he felt some kind of way about it. And I was just like, dude, like that's prone to happen. Like you can't let it hurt your feelings. If they're flirting and they change their mind, some women will do that. You just know, okay, don't date that woman. And so this guy said, and dating coaches bag on the red pill community for opting out of dating women and saying the juice isn't worth the squeeze. If a chick I'm with jokes about giving me a hand job, I'm going to use that as a sign that she's interested. Well, she very well could be. But here's the thing. Again, you don't know the moment that she says, hey, I'm down to do this thing. You could still do some things that cause her to change her mind, or she could be starting to have second thoughts like, well, I don't want to be seen as a bad girl. And if I do this thing, how's he going to think of me? And like, she could be tripping her own self up leading up to the action you want her to do. Again, that doesn't mean she's not interested. In the moment that she said it, it could very well mean in the moment that she said the thing, she really thought she'd be down for it. And then it was coming to the event where it was about to happen. And she realized I'm not quite there. You trying to argue the point to her and trying to negotiate with her why she should do the thing is rarely ever going to work, guys. I'm sorry. Like, if you want to deal with women, you got to know that with their changing their minds, ebb and flowing, that they might go from wanting to do a thing to not want to do a thing. Now, some guys get at me and say, so does that mean we always got to follow what she wants? I'm not trying to get you arrested. Real talk. All right. But to the point is that as you get to know more about how women operate and you start doing more of the things that are going to cause her to be put at ease, you'll have less of these things happen. But when they do happen, again, the worst thing you can do is get butthurt by it, because then she's going to go from thinking he was in it for me to like, oh, he really did just want the hookup. He just wanted the handy. That's all he wanted from me. He didn't actually care about me. And women want to know that you care about them, so that way they will care to give themselves to you. So then he says, this guy, me, this guy's justification to excuse her behavior of doing this is just laughable. No, I don't care what anyone says. You don't joke about giving someone a hand job. She needs to be held accountable for her piss poor behavior. Grow a daggone pair and call her out. I swear, men are beta simps that worship the vagina. So look, I'm not in the habit of like saying you need to do all things in order to get the vajayjay. And that's not what I'm about at all. What I'm telling you guys is that you need to learn to be less butthurt by women's actions. If a woman promises you, hey, at the end of this date, we're going to hook up or do something, and then she doesn't do it, you could choose to just not date her again if that's your prerogative. I'm saying being butthurt about it and calling women out about it has never in the history of foreverdom got a woman to get on your program. Like to be like, well, if she says she's going to give me a hand job and she doesn't, then I'm going to call her out, blah, blah, blah. No woman has been like, hey, you know what? You're right. I said I was going to give you a hand job and now I'm not doing it. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry I pissed you off. Here, pull your pants down right now. Like that is never going to happen. So you have two options. And this is the kind of stuff that I do. I teach you guys based on what has worked for me, right? So I've been in situations where a hookup was possibly going to happen. And then last minute, woman has resistance. Well, I don't know if I want to. I don't think, because here's the thing. And my response is like, okay, cool. Back to the TV, watching TV. Because my thing is this, I tell girls this all the time. My goal is to get to know you and have a good time with you in whatever capacity that means. So if we hook up as part of that, fantastic. If we don't, I'm still getting to know you, fantastic. I legitimately hold that stance because that puts women at ease into going from in their mind thinking he might just be in this for sex. I've had times where I've been dating a woman for several months and then they'll be like, well, you might just want me for a hookup. And I'll be like, okay, well, let's just take sex off the table. Like, we don't have to do anything. We good? And then the women's response, oh, no, okay, I was just joking. Okay, I see you're serious. Okay, never mind, let's not do it. Because I pulled their card. They want to hook up. They want to do these various things, but society has made them believe they're going to be harlots if they do it. Their own subconscious is thinking, am I going to be seen like a dirty girl, or is he only going to want me for this thing? And so sometimes with women, that's going to pop in their head. That is barely a thought that ever pops up in a guy's head. Like the guys are rarely ever thinking, but is she using me for sex today? We might be thinking, is she using me for money? But we're rarely thinking, is she using me just for a hookup, all right? So they're going to have those thoughts sporadically. And when that happens, if you go about responding with, oh, but you promised me this and you said this, all you're doing is proving them right. And I'm just trying to get you guys in the headspace to understand, A, when you're indifferent, whether she hooks up with you or not is not going to bug you. And also, when you let less things bother you, you're going to get what you want. But to say that, women that do this or say these things, and hey, to be fair, some women are going to play with you like that. Some women are going to be like, they're going to have the vagina in front of you, hook, line, and sinker to try to get you to do stuff. At the point that you recognize it, you can walk away from the situation. You ultimately have control of how this goes. So if you're bugged by women that are saying, hey, I'm going to give you a hand job, and then they don't, fine. Hey, I'm not saying you shouldn't be bugged by it. You can totally walk away. I'm saying you need to be more indifferent to this kind of stuff because this is likely to happen. Even a woman that is like highly interested in you and ready to jump your bones might still have that last minute, but no, wait, I don't know if I should. I mean, I really like you, but I don't want this to be a thing. And then you go away and I'm really hurt and blah, 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 blah. Again, my response is, okay, cool. Let's just wait. I find doing that is like the magic potion to making women want to hook up with you more and to get you what you want. So you could try to argue them and be mad at them and be pissed off and prove them right. Or you can be indifferent and say, I just want to get to know you, whatever that means, and then put her at ease. And then once she's at ease, she will come up with the magical idea to want to suddenly hook up with you. It's amazing how that works. So hopefully, Guy, that helps you out. Hope that gave you some clarification. All right. Like I said, guys, the show is about you. So if you have any questions you want to ask me in the chat, you can. Today, I'm going through answering some of the various critiques that I've gotten over the last couple of months, just to give some clarification to some of the points that I make on this show. So with that said, I did a video, as I typically tend to do, called Don't Text Her All the Time, where I pretty much talked about the pitfalls of texting women all the time. And so this person said, it seems like you've only dated toxic women. No need to play these games if it's a well-mannered woman. And it's interesting how men, in an attempt to try to get what they want, or in an attempt, because they don't understand how women operate, that they will critique something that they feel they don't understand why that should be a thing. Like some of the guys come in here are like, I should be able to text her when I want to. And if she's not texting me back, then she's playing games, or she's bipolar, or she's toxic, or she just has low self-esteem and blah, blah, blah. All these excuses because they're not getting the results that they want when they're trying to text women all the time. So he says, no need to play these games if it's a well-mannered woman. I can assure you, I have dated a plethora of women admittedly, ranging from those that were kind of like a little bit out there to those that are well-mannered, have great self-esteem, have great families, have great jobs. Across the board, most women don't want to be texted all the time. Like, women are giving you the number in order to get you to text them, to ask them on dates, to see you in person, to have tangible experiences with you where they can touch you, feel you, smell you, hear your laughter, interact with you. And so what has happened now is that guys have turned the phone into that mechanism. But the phone is just digital ones and zeros and little letters and stuff that you're texting forth ideas and messages, but you're not giving a woman the full experience of you. So the full experience of you is always going to be better than being on your phone all the time. And again, I've dated across the board. I have found in my personal life, and again, he's saying the women you date have been toxic. I typically tend to date well-mannered women that are all about, like, they have good jobs, but they're also trying to cook for me and trying to give me a whole lot of you-know-what in the bedroom. So, but I say this because guys have this thing that if the things that they're doing aren't getting them the proper results, it's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's that these women must be toxic. The most well-mannered woman in the world, yes, she's going to want to hear from you, but she's going to be more so apt to want to see you on dates. And I have seen both in my personal life and in the lives of guys that I've coached time and time again, that when they're texting a lot, they get lower results and lower return investment in terms of them trying to date women. And then you can go to my comment section of my various videos and read comments from guys. Hey, Harry, I listened to what you said. I stopped texting so much. I stopped Snapchatting so much. And now all of a sudden the woman that was going away is coming back to me. And guys will say, but that's toxic because she's just a person that just wants a guy to treat her bad. This is not about treating a woman bad. This is about understanding that the best way to build a woman's interest up is in person. And you trying to do it on the phone is more often than not going to get you less results. Now, I've coached guys across the board from younger dudes in middle school, high school, college, all the way up to like guys in their 50s and 60s. And in every one of those situations, in every one of those age brackets, when a guy comes to me and says, hey, so I met this girl, things are great, and we were texting a lot in the beginning, and now it's slowed down, and now she's ghosting me, blah, 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 blah. It's always because the guy was the one that was reaching out too much and initiating contact too much, which is why I tell you guys, like the last person, I said, I keep it to a 3-to-1 ratio. I let a woman initiate text 3 times before I initiate one text. This does not mean I don't talk to her, but it means that, I'm reaching out for specific things. I'm reaching out for a date. I'm reaching out to clarify times. I'm reaching out to make sure that she's available. And then if I happen to send a sporadic text here and there about, hey, I'm missing you today, blah, 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 then I'll do that. But even those kind of texts are for when I get into an actual relationship, okay? I typically save my emoji text, my sending memes text for when I'm in a relationship at the point where we've already decided that we're gonna be together, at which point I've crossed the finish line. I can now do a teeny bit more texting, but I still keep it at, I'm letting her reach out 3 times more than I reach out. Everybody that says this thing about, texting should be 50-50 and, chasing should be 50-50. Dudes, you're being lied to, because I tell you guys all the time, for everything that we say or do to women, they feel it 3 times more, which is why the 3-to-1 ratio for texting works. Because if you text her 3 times to her 1, it's going to feel like overkill. But if you text 1 time to her 3 times, your 1 time to her feels like 3 times of texting, which is why you guys that are doing like the quadruple texting, women start to fall off, because it's like, now it feels like you're doing too much. If you're sending back-to-back double, triple texting, that feels like way too much for a woman. It feels like you're giving her too much conversation. You're being too needy for attention, and she's going to start to lose interest. If you don't believe me, the next woman that you have a crush on, just try this. Try only texting her in the beginning for dates. See if she doesn't reach out more. See if she doesn't start saying to you, well, hey, I know she don't text me, blah, 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 which means she's vying for your attention instead of you vying for her attention. So test that out, see if it works. Let me know what you think about that, okay? Anyway, we got a question in the chat. Let me just take a drink here. All right, so we got a question in the chat. The question goes, there's one girl who's cute, and I see her every day on the bus to school. The thing is, she's always with some other dude. I don't know if he likes her, but they're not dating. What are the ethics here? There are no ethics. If she is not explicitly, okay, I'll say this. If she's around him a lot, there could possibly be a chance that maybe she's interested in him, or maybe he's interested in her, is not saying anything. My thing is this, nobody's saying anything. So it's an open game here. But this also goes back to, like, this is why as a guy, you shouldn't be having such high feelings for a girl in the beginning, because, for optics purposes, guys typically tend to fall in love a lot faster. And I'm actually gonna do a whole show about that, but we fall in love with looks very quickly. We see a girl that's cute and say, okay, she's cute. She has the curves that I like. She smells good. Therefore, boom, I already like her. I already know that. And now we get nervous around the girl. And now we start thinking, oh, but I can't talk to her. Oh, but she probably likes this other guy. Oh, I should be still. And then you start thinking, like, well, I don't want to mess up anything she has going on because she might be this other guy. Nobody said anything. So if he hasn't approached her and she hasn't approached him, nobody said anything. But you don't have to go in all gung-ho on a girl, like, because a lot of guys think, well, if I approach her, I got to tell her that I like her, and I got to tell her that I have feelings for her, and then ask her on a date. This is putting the cart before the horse. You know nothing, because as much as cute as you think she is, you don't actually have enough time spent with her to really, really know on a one-on-one personal level if she would actually work as somebody you could potentially date. So I go into all my interactions with new women as they are new stimuli. It is a research project. I've said it before on the show, treat every new girl you date like a research project and less than a crush, and you will have better results because you'll be less nervous. So for example, let's say I saw this random hot girl, right? Or let's say I'm with friends and I'm at a party, because this happened before. I'm at a party with friends and I see a girl, I think she's really, really hot, right? So my lizard brain is like, oh, she's pretty. Oh my God, I want to bang her. I want to get with her right now. And oh my God, I'm all nervous. I've had to train my logical brain to be like, okay, she's cute, but. And I'm 41 at this point. I've had the experience of dating a girl that I thought was really, or seeing a girl that I thought was really, really cute, and then going up to her, I start talking to her, I realize she's really dumb, or she has a weird voice, or we go on a couple of dates, her family life's messed up, or she has some really weird ideas about stuff. And so even though that cuteness got me to be interested in her, all the stuff that came after that resulted in me saying, but not for me. And that's happened enough times to where when I see a cute girl now, my first response is, but what else has she got? Because realistically, cuteness lasts for a decent amount of time with women, but like at the point where they hit like 29, 30, they can still be attractive, but not as attractive as they were at like 20 or 25. And so at that point, if they don't have more besides just the cuteness factor, it doesn't impress me at this age. But if you're a younger guy, that's not gonna be a thing, because every girl around you is gonna be cute, right? But just have in your head, the looks that women have are designed to trip you up on purpose. You can't let that trip you up because their cuteness does not actually show who they are or how they are as a person, right? So once you're able to start training your brain to think beyond the cuteness, then you're gonna look at every woman and say, well, what else is there? I want to research what else is there. And that will open you up to being able to approach more women, because everyone you'll see will just be like, but what is she about? Like, her cuteness is great, but like, what does she have going for besides the cuteness? I want to investigate. And then you go up to girls and say, hey, I'd love to take you out for lunch. And you'll say it because you'll think like you're not going into approaching them from the perspective of, I have to have them. I'm so nervous. They're the cutest thing. Instead, you're approaching them as like, I need to know more. Before I have my feelings of lust are already there. I feel like she's hot and attractive. But like before I get to all that, like what's actually there? And then you'll go up to them and be like, you'll be able to have normal conversation because you're thinking the whole time, she's cute, but like there's something beyond this. I got to learn more. And I'm telling you, a high level of like 10s and 9s attractive level women have a level of crazy you would not believe. But guys trip up because they're cute and they have boobs and they're all pretty and attractive. And so we don't want to investigate that. No, always investigate. In fact, the cuter they are, she's probably got more stuff messed up with her. And until I'm proven wrong, that I'm not going to put all my cards on the table yet. So I'm going to go up to her, hey, have a banter. You're going to the back of the bus. Hey, blah, 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 blah. Hey, this is great. Hey, you know what? Like, we should hang out sometime. What do you think? What are you doing like after school this Saturday? Like, let's just go on a bike ride or go to a park and just chat it up. Boom. You're not going in there with any kind of emotion. You're not going in there with any kind of like, she has to be mine. When you do that, then you're able to control the environment a lot better because you're going to have your nerves and your anxiousness under control. Because again, you do not actually know this woman enough to actually have these feelings. You're running on lust right now. But if you go from a perspective of being a research project, then it'll be a lot easier for you to basically date any woman you want, you know? So hopefully it helps you out. I got a question in the chat. And this, I don't know if it's a question, but he says, I have this girl I've been seeing about a month and a half dating. I see her 4 or 5 days a week. She wants to go slow, which honestly is appealing because at my age, I get a lot of hookups. Exactly. You know, there was actually a comment that somebody left this week. Let's see if I can find the comment here. Oh, this guy left a comment under why giving her a texting ultimatum makes her pull away. And I talked about how, like, again, guys should not be giving texting ultimatums to women they just met, or at all in general, that like women, when they first start to meet you, they want to get to know you. But when you text a woman all the time, you're basically signing her up to have to text you back nonstop, even when she's doing things. And that's not fair to women. So this guy said, as the vast majority, just like the vast majority of other dating coaches, I guess, you're straw manning the F out of this. It's all behavior. You can see her every day at school and she won't think you're needy based on your behavior. And so what I get what he's trying to say here. Basically, he's saying is like, you know, what's the difference between, you know, texting a girl all the time and seeing her every single day? Because whether you have a job, if she works at your job or she's in your classes at school, you're going to see her every day. So how is that not any different from you texting her all the time? Here's the difference, is that in a school and in a work environment, you are seeing them, but you're seeing them sporadically. They already know that when they go to work, they're going to see you. When they go to school, they're going to see you. They're not going to see you all the time. If you're in the work world, they got a cubicle over there, you got a cubicle over here. And so you're not talking to each other the entire day, person to person. When you're in school, you have classes together and you might talk to them at the beginning of class, but then the teacher starts teaching and they're teaching. You're not actually having a full-on interaction with this person in these environments. So yeah, you might see them every day, but in those environments, you're not talking to that person nonstop all the time. What guys do with texting is they basically like galvanize the woman's time by basically texting her nonstop, hoping that she's going to text back all the time as proof to him that she likes him. And this is what turns women off, because in the school environment, she's talking to you sporadically, but not nonstop. Once a woman thinks she has to text you all the time in order for you to be happy, now she's feeling like there's pressure, which is going to make her want to do it a lot less because it feels like she's being forced to do a thing that she did not sign up for. School, she signs up for. Work, she signs up for. her talking to you nonstop in the beginning of a dating relationship, she's not signing up for. And we want the woman coming to you, because if she's chasing you, she can't be replacing you. But when you're the one chasing by texting all the time, you are unfairly signing her up to do that, and she's not wanting to do that. Now, as she gets to know you more, she's going to want to hear from you more. But even with that, at the point that starts happening, trust me, the women that like you help you, and they'll be the ones to reach out to you more. This goes back to the whole 3-to-1 ratio. That's what you want to happen in order to secure that she's going to want to be a decent enough texting buddy. But you as the guy should still really be just initiating text to start to get dates, all right? If you're doing more than that, then you are severely wasting her time, and more importantly, you're wasting your effort. Guys have this thing of like thinking, I need to be doing all the time in order to get her more interested, and if I'm not doing all the time, she's going to be losing interest. I try to stress to you guys, less is more. If you make strategic moves at the right time during the dating process, then you will not have to be doing all the time, because you're going to find what's going to actually trip you up in the dating world is the doing all the time. I found that, like, you know what? The less I do, the better. So I know, for example, if I schedule a date, I know take her on a date, show her a good time. I know I can now wait 4 or 5 days before I contact her again. If she contacts me, great. That's her doing the work. But I know in 4 or 5 days, if she doesn't contact me, I have more work to do. I got to hit her up again for another date. I found, most funny, most women that I dated, I find, like, I'll take them on that first date, right? And then I'll wait 4 to 7 days, between 4 to 7 days before I contact them for another date. That first time when I do that, they usually don't contact me. They might contact me at the end of the date, like, hey, I had a good time, blah, 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 blah. And then I'll leave them alone for a week. I text them again, and now after that second date, on that second date, we're usually making out, doing other stuff. At that point, now I don't have to wait 4 days for her to contact me. She's contacting me the next day. Hey, had a great time. Hey, I was just thinking about you. Hope your day's going well. Again, what work have I done? So, and again, I'm still doing work, but it's strategic. The more patient you are when you're making moves, that shows to a woman that you are able to control yourself. You can be patient. You can control your emotions. You're able to put your pleasures to the side for a bit and wait on the right time to do things. These are all movements that women need to see from you to get a feeling that you're going to be a safe guy to be around. You sporadically texting all the time and trying to hang out with her all the time, those are the moves of a guy that looks desperate and needy, which to women feels very threatening. It feels forced. Women don't like force. Anytime you're trying to force anything on a woman, it's not going to go well, whether it's in the bedroom or on the phone. So you got to learn to know to make the right moves, when to make them, and then strike accordingly, and your work, it'll function a lot better. Now, for those of you guys that need help with that, I have a great program at my website called the Introvert Dating Success Academy. It walks you through the 3 months of things you need to be doing during the dating process to go from meeting her to dating her to hooking up with her to squashing any kinds of, like, you know, situations that may come up, all the way to getting into a relationship. And it's all very much, these are the moves these are when to make moves. These are when not to make moves. These are things that she's going to do. And when she does them, this is how to respond to those things. And this is how to get into a relationship. If you need help with that, go to the website and check it out. All right. So you got a question here. Oh, the same guy. So this guy says, I've been helping her out a bit with her bills a bit. It's hard to gauge her interest since we haven't really been that physical. Should I bail? Is she using me, or could this be legit? Well, you said you've been seeing her for a month and a half. Dude, I do not know why you are paying any of her bills a month and a half in. I have girls that I dated for years. The only bill I paid was like the dinner bill when we went to go out to eat, but no electric bill, nothing like that. And so here's the thing, especially, I don't know if you're a nice guy or not, or if you consider yourself a nice guy, but women very early on are going to be trying to suss out of you if you are willing to pay for some form of their lifestyle. And we call those women gold diggers. Now, obviously, the caveat is that women are going to want to be supported at some point, and that can come in the relationship phase of things. But you've only been dating a girl. You're not even in a relationship with her. You've just been dating her for a month and a half. For one, that is way too early to be paying anybody's bills. But also to the point is that this is a situation that sounds like, I would normally say it sounds like she's using you, but it sounds more like, because I don't want to put the blame on her, because you decided to pay these bills. I've told this story before. There was a girl I dated a few years ago, like many, many years ago. And not even dated. Like I was single for New Year's, and I'd gone on a dating app, and I found a girl that was also single for New Year's. Said, hey, you know what? This is a crapshoot, but we're both single for New Year's. Why don't you come over or why don't we just go out for the New Year's? We can go, I'll find something else to do. We can just go out and have a good night. I didn't care if it went beyond just New Year's. I just wanted a date for New Year's. She agreed, came to my place, made her dinner. We went out, saw some fireworks, and it didn't cost me nothing. Like I bought food from the store. That was it, right? So we get back to my place, and then we didn't do anything. She went home that night. I had a good time, right? The next day, she hits me up in the morning. Hey, you want to do breakfast? Now I'm like, I had to go someplace. So I was like, I'm going to some place right now, but when I get done, if you want to get breakfast, sure. I'm like, hey, incoming date, fantastic. So we go to this place out here called Norm's. And Norm's has a pretty decent breakfast menu where most of the food is pretty affordable. But they have this one meal in there. It's like a steak and eggs breakfast, and it's like $34, right? Take a wild guess what this woman ordered for breakfast. So I'm sitting there at breakfast, and I'm like, she invited me on this breakfast, and now she's ordering the most expensive thing, and I know she's going to expect me to pay for this. I'm like, you know what? Hey, checkmate. Game recognized game. She got me. It is what it is, right? But while we're sitting at this breakfast, she starts talking about some other things. She starts going off about like, gosh, man, I gotta pay my phone bill this month because man, my phone's about to get cut off. And oh my God, like I didn't pay my phone bill yet. Oh my God. Now, I wasn't born yesterday. So at this point, I already know okay. She's trying to get me to spend money on her. She's trying to get me to pay this phone bill. Okay, I see where this is going. So I'm already in my head, I'm like, this isn't gonna work, but like, we'll just see how this goes. So I'm just like, yeah, you gotta pay that phone bill. Yeah, gotta do that. Eat my food. So then we leave and she's like, well, there's a mall over here. Let's go to this mall over here. It's like this like outside mall. So we go to this outside mall, walking around. We go right to the T-Mobile store. Oh man, I gotta pay my phone bill. Oh man, I really gotta pay this. Oh, I don't know if I have the money to pay this month. Oh my God. I'm just standing there like, yeah, it'd be tough. I'm on my phone, like playing some game or whatever, right? So then we leave that place and we're walking by this store and it's got a dress that's in the, it's like a dress store. It's got a dress in the window, right? And we walk by and she's like, oh, that's such a nice dress. Oh man, I really love to get that dress. It looks so elegant. Oh my God, it looks so good in it, isn't it? And I'm standing there like, so here's the thing, guy, right? I'm telling you this story because this is a situation where this woman was clearly trying to see if I was going to pay these bills. And I knew by not paying her phone bill, by not buying her this dress, that I was going to be disqualified by her to date her. And you have to be okay with that. You have to get to the point where you have enough of an abundance mindset to realize that sometimes you need to let women like do things that take you out of the running for them because they're displaying toxic traits. And so I don't know how it came about that you were paying this woman's bills. But again, women are pretty crafty. They'll start giving, because they know that we will fall for a sob story. So they'll start saying things like, oh man, like, I don't know what to do with my rent this month because, the landlord was getting on me and something happened to my job and I didn't get to earn enough and I'm about to get kicked out. And we'll hear this like, oh, well, you know what? If I just slide her the money this one time, it'll help her out. No harm, no foul. But the wrong woman will see your graciousness and kindness and be like, oh, I could do this again. Yeah. He gave me the money to pay my bill this month for my car and for my apartment. Like, how far down this rabbit hole can this go? And this is a very toxic thing because, again, I've had an abundance of dating experience. I've dated women that have made more money than me, that have been willing to pay for dates for me, that have been willing to help me pay bills at times. I've dated women that made less money than me, that aren't trying to ask of me to pay stuff for them, because these women have a good head on their shoulders and know that in the dating process, this is about us getting to know each other. This isn't about me and how much money I can give her and how much I can support her lifestyle right now, when clearly we are not even in a relationship. So I say that all that to say that you're paying her bills and whatnot, whether she's using you or not, is not important so much as are you allowing yourself to be used? If she came to you and said, hey, I need some money, and you said yes, at that point, we could say, oh, she's using you. You gave the money. And on this show in particular, I'm very much about men looking at what they're doing and taking self-responsibility. If you feel like you're being used for money, you're the one that agreed to give it to her. So you could also decide to not do that. Could you possibly lose her as a result? You could, but ask yourself the question, do you want a woman that's only staying with you for the money that she can give you? And you could be a guy that's like, hey, I want to be the one that takes care of my woman, and so I want to show that right away. If you feel as though you're getting a beneficial trade as a result of that, like maybe you pay her bill, then she like hooks up with you whenever you want to. Hey, if it's a fair trade and you feel it's fair, totally fine. But if you don't feel that, then you don't have to keep paying this woman's bills. You could just decide not to, because I don't pay any woman's bills. I've yet to pay any woman in my entire life of dating, paying any woman's car bill, electric note, apartment note, nothing. And if they ask me for it, I'm out because well, especially in the dating phase, like my money's my money, her money's her money. And I can guarantee you she's not trying to do that for you. Like that's not a situation you should allow yourself to get into. Again, put the blame on yourself. You allowed yourself to fall for whatever sob story she had and give the money. So take it away and see what she does. If she starts getting butthurt by it, she was out for the money, and then go find somebody else. If you happen to have a lot of money, like you're a guy that's like a high earner and you always lead with money, I'd say start leading without money, because you don't need to be doing that, because you're going to get the wrong woman who's going to use you for the wrong intentions. And that's not the space that I want you to be in. But you got to want that for yourself, So hopefully it helps out, I guess. Let's see what else got here. Let's see. Oh, so the other guy said, I'll ask for the number then. Thanks for reminding me that I don't actually even know her yet. One time I bagged a girl who had a huge 6-year-long crush on another guy before that. It's just part of the dating game. Like, I know people hate to hear, like, it's a numbers game. But yeah, like, again, you go into these things, you meet with women, you don't know them. Especially the younger you are, the more hormones you have. All you're thinking is like, I want to hook up. But your brain's going to trick you into thinking, that must mean I really love her and I really care about her. You don't. Like, you just don't. You don't know her enough. You got to have more conversations. And also, because I know when I was a young dude, like, I could get blinded by hearing certain things. Like, women will say something like, oh yeah, my last 4 exes abused me, blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to be that guy. And not realizing that, oh, she drew all those guys in, and that she was also part of those fights, and she was toxic. So even when you're talking to them, as you're doing your research, really research the background of the woman, the guys that she's dated, research the kind of family she has, what she's into or not into. Like, pay attention, because I'm going to show you, as an older guy, you hook up with the girl that has all these problems, those problems don't go away just because you're a nice guy. Like, if anything, she's going to bring those problems into your life, and you don't need that on you. Like, it can be quite a while to get rid of that bad juju, So just food for thought. Let's see some other comments here. I got a lot of comments today. Let's see. So he says, so I was thinking I could be like, yo, I'm trying to get your number. Let me pull up contacts real quick. Maybe after commenting something about her outfit, is that okay? Could I do this with guy friends too? Notice I've been around too much and been borderline clingy. I know if this was a situation with a woman, I would just pull back. But I'm worried about fading away. My typical go-to for asking women out asking for women's numbers, rather, right? I go up to them, have a good conversation with them, rapport. At the point that I get her really laughing loud, I'm like, oh, you know what? It's been great talking to you. I got to go. I start walking away. I turn back. Oh, yeah, sorry, real quick. Let me get your number. Notice I do not phrase that as a question, because this is the psychology of people, okay? Is that, think about from the time that we're born to whatever, right? When you're around your parents, right? Your parents will typically tell you to do stuff, not ask you. Like, really, when they say, like, hey, could you take out the trash? They're going to say, hey, you take out the trash, right? So we get trained at a very young age to just do what we're told. Like, it's almost like, it's like a reflex. Like, somebody tells you to do some stuff, like, hey, go over there. Or, hey, look over there. Just look, right? So I just found, and in my research, I found that, like, when you're trying to get things from women, it's better for you to tell them that you want a thing versus asking them if they'll give you a thing. So again, real quick, let me get your number. I'm doing the action. I'm telling. I've just found in my practice doing that, I have yet to have a woman that would turn down, give me the number, if I just tell them to give it to me. But if I say, hey, can I get your number? I've had girls be like, oh, well, I don't know. Can I give you my Facebook? Can I give you my Instagram? Can I give you? And that is low level saying, I don't really want you to have my information. All right. And so again, some of this stuff is like things that, like, as a guy, you're like, why does that work? Like, I should just be able to ask them. Look, I don't care about what should work. I care about what does work. And what I found works for me is saying, hey, it's been nice talking to you. I got to go. Oh, real quick, let me get your number. And you say it as if you expect to get it, because women are going to go off your energy. If you expect to get something, that's the energy you're giving. She almost has no choice psychologically but to give you the thing that you're asking for in the moment. Okay? So this also goes for, like, dates. You don't say, hey, do you want to go to the putt-putt park? You say, hey, I'm picking you up at 7 to go to the putt-putt park, or, whatever. You don't ask women where you're going to take them. You tell them where you're going to take them, and they're going to have a good time because they're in your company, not based on the places you take them. All right? So just some food for thought there. Let's see. Got some more questions in the chat. So the guy, in reference to giving the money, He says, yeah, she's got a couple little kids, bought them coats and paid internet and phone. LOL. I normally would never do this type of thing. Thanks for the advice. But no problem. Hey, again, I have a heart. We all fall for sob stories, and it's even harder when you see the woman that has kids, because now she's it's like, oh, the kids are struggling. They need this and that. Dude, especially if you're not even in a relationship with her, so they're not your stepkids. They're definitely not your kids, and you're already paying for stuff for them a month in. Like, again, it's a very admirable thing, but also, and I think this thing too is like a lot of times, if we've had a history of like, we dealt with girls, for example, that maybe if we didn't pay for certain things, they got mad at us, right? So you come to this new woman, for all we know, she could be a sweet, kind woman and maybe isn't asking you those things. Maybe she just like told you about those things and you went into superhero mode. And women know guys want to be the superhero. So she might have said it and not thought you were going to go into that mode, or she could have thought, if I say this thing, he's going to go into that mode. But either way, a good woman is not going to fault you for not being able to do those things. And most women, especially in the first 3 months of dating, they're going to be more understanding, ideally, that you're not going to just come out of pocket for them on account of you just met them, right? Women that don't understand that, they're showing their true colors and need to head for the hills as fast as humanly possible. All right. We got a question here in the chat. The question goes, if the pull away period is weeks or a month, how do you overcome the feeling of being ignored? The honest answer is you don't. The honest answer is that this goes back to the idea of being indifferent. Now, it's a lot harder for women that you really had a high interest in. But again, I always say, women, just like men, they can choose to continue to see a guy or not see a guy. It'd be great if like every woman that you dated, it worked out without a hitch and they want to continue to see you. But the reality is, as good of a guy as you are, some women are going to go out on a date with you a couple of times, and if for whatever reason, they're just not feeling it. It could be like, they like you, but like maybe something about your lifestyle, or maybe there's something going on with her that she doesn't want to tell you. I remember I went on a date with a girl one time, went on a first date with her, and took her to a comedy club, had a really great time with her. She was like it was an amazing date. She was really cool. We vibed. We had some great conversations. But one of the conversations we had was, she said in her family, she always, like most people in her family have twins, and she was still single, had no kids. And she was like, she couldn't wait to be able to get married someday to be able to have kids. Ideally, she'd want to have twins. And unbeknownst to her, I didn't want kids. And I just had a vasectomy like 2 weeks prior. So as a result of that, I never asked her out again. Now, she has no idea to this day why I didn't ask her out again. Because again, we had a good vibe going, but I just didn't feel the need to divulge that information. So she could be looking at me like, he just ghosted her this way. I'm so butthurt. Oh my God, isn't that? She doesn't know. But that's the point, is that some girls are going to reject you for reasons you have no idea about. And that's why I tell you guys also, it's important to be indifferent, because you don't know the reasons behind why that woman decided not to talk to you. It could be a very valid reason. You could be like, oh, I want to go up and have 3 or 4 dogs when I get married. And she could be allergic to dogs. Oh, can't date him anymore because he wants dogs and I don't want to mess with that, Or she could be for some other dumb reason. But the point is that, like I said, because regardless of how she pulls away, the end result is she's no longer around you. She doesn't want your attention, or she's not giving you her attention. You got to learn to be like, okay, that sucks, but there's other women out there. Now, if you've been a guy that hasn't had the best luck, it can be very, very hard to have the perspective of there's other women out there. Because I know some guys think that we only get a couple of shots of this. So if this girl doesn't work out, then what am I going to do? Because I don't have any other prospect at this point in time. And so this is where it gets into, as you build up your dating skill set, as you understand women better, then you're going to realize that if this doesn't work out, totally fine. There's going to be other chances for you to go out there and meet other women of your own accord, by your own motivation, because you know that you have these skill sets to be able to actually meet more women, and you're going to be less hung up on the ones that don't talk to you. Like, again, at 41, I've had plenty of women over the years that I was talking to initially that stopped talking to me, and I cannot tell you their names. I can't tell you where they went. I don't follow them on Facebook. I don't know what happened to them. They're barely a memory, right? But in the moment, it can feel like, this girl's not talking to me. A year from now, you will not know who she is or care, But that's stuff that you get in hindsight. In the moment, you just got to know that you're going to feel a thing. It's perfectly fine to feel like, man, I wish I would have worked out. But also realize it's fine to be like, but she can do what she wants to do, and I got to move on to somebody else, So I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but hopefully it helps you out, all right? I'm going to refill my mug here with some more water, so I will be right back. Hey guys, yep, it's still me here. So if you have been trying to figure out the ins and outs of how to date, it can be very, very challenging, especially if you don't have the proper roadmap to be able to get there. You know, going from dating to getting into a relationship has its own set of problems and issues that if you're not aware of them, you can ultimately end up not being successful. And that's why I've created the Introvert Dating Success Academy. This is an academy that is designed to help you figure out the ins and outs of how to meet, greet, attract, date, land, and keep the woman of your dreams. You could have a girlfriend within the span of 3 months of meeting somebody if you knew the practical steps to take at each stage, from when you first meet the woman, how to talk to her, all the way up to how to ask her out on a date, the kind of date to take her on, how to get to that first kiss, or something more complex as to how to get in the bedroom, what to do when you're in the bedroom, and even concerning things like when you guys have your first argument, how do you deal with that? What signs can you look for that indicate how she feels about you without you having to ask her? And how can you tell when it's time for you to have the relationship conversation? Well, these are all things that are covered in the Introvert Dating Success Academy. It is a video course. It is 12 videos that are designed to walk you through that entire process, A through Z, step by step, so you can finally land the woman of your dreams. And with that, there are some pretty cool bonuses that come with that as well. Now, if you want to check that out and see what the whole program is about, you can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com and you can click on the programs tab and then click on the section that says Introvert Dating Success Academy and see everything that comes with it. But I promise you guys, this program is based on my personal success and the steps that I've used time and time again to be able to attract women, get with any kind of woman that I want to, and if I decide to, get into relationships. And I believe it can be very helpful for you as well. So go to the website, take a look at it, and I'll be happy to assist you and help you when you join the Introvert Dating Success Academy today. And we're back. All righty then. So let's continue on. So I still have plenty of these comments to go through here, but of course, I'm going to get to your guys' comments first because you guys watching the show, you want answers. So by the way, if you're getting any value out of what I'm saying on the show, you can definitely support the show by leaving a super chat or leaving a Cash App donation at $Harry Wilmington. I don't currently do sponsorships, so everything you guys donate helps me run this show greatly. So thank you for that. And of course, you can also go to the website and get an ebook, an audiobook, a program. Aside from, help me out, it's really quality stuff that's going to help you guys through your dating life. So anyway, I had a question here. He says, "Dear Harry, I'm sure you've experienced in this realm. I'm sure you have experience in this realm, but why do I attract women who are married or taken? I understand that they say you look for women who are unavailable if that's how one grew up, but I show up the same with women who are single or married, and I attract those with boyfriends already. Not sure what's going on there, as I feel I treat all women the same." Well, I mean, you have to look at where you're hanging out at. I don't know if you're hanging out in circles of people that happen to have a lot of married women and stuff around, so that kind of sucks. I appreciate you saying that, you say, I understand they say you look for women who are unavailable if that's how one grew up, but also, so that could be part of it, but also, few things. For one, some women are just shady and are willing to cheat on their husbands. But also I find that a lot of women get married to guys that they aren't highly interested in because it's time. Like they want to get pregnant, but they're 29 and they don't know if they have another shot at this. So they just marry the guy that's going to be nice to them and agree to get them pregnant. And then that happens and they realize, I'm not attracted to that bozo. And now they're out on the prowl again. And then they come up to you. If you have any kind of game or talk to them in any kind of friendly way, then they're like, oh, this is the vibe that I'm feeling. Why couldn't I have gotten this guy? Well, maybe he'd be open to doing a little something. You'd be surprised because men get a bad rap for cheating, but women are stealth cheaters and they can hold secrets like nobody's business. And they will seek you out and hunt you down, thinking that you're going to keep it a secret and that she ain't telling nobody. So whose business is it? So I don't want you to completely like put yourself at fault. Like ideally you're going to places like, I don't know, bars or like I'm not really a bar guy, so let's scratch it, okay? But like going to classes or doing hobbies that have other people there that ideally don't have rings that they're wearing, so you can kind of guess that they're probably single or not attached. Because those are probably the better places to find people. Again, I don't know what circles you're currently in at the moment, but yeah, some women are just saying and trifling like that. And again, you do all you can do is work on yourself and try to put yourself in spaces where you have a more favorable chance of meeting single women, but don't discount that there are women who are married who will not wear a ring and then go out there and act like they're single and then be like, oh, by the way, I met women on dating apps before who, you connect with them on the dating app and then you find out on the first meetup, oh, by the way, I'm like technically still married or technically going through a divorce or blah, 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 blah. Like that happens too, So understand that's bound to happen, and it's not always that you're seeking that out. Sometimes it's just that they're doing things, but also, again, work on yourself and work on like where you can go that's going to have a less likely chance of that happening, Hopefully that helps out. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to get to some of these other comments that I have here, and then I'll get back to some of the more of these chats a little bit later. So let's see. Another comment that I got. Let's see. The straw man argument one. I think I did a whole show about this, about a woman commented under my confirming dates kills attraction video. Because I tell you guys that all the time. I said confirming dates with women could be a very big reason that you're actually losing them, because it displays a level of you being not so confident about your ability to actually attract her to where she'd remember a date. Like you as a guy are never going to forget a date. Any date that you set, you're going to remember. Women that are highly interested are also going to remember those dates. So when you set up all the details on the phone for that phone call, I'm assuming you're going to be setting up a date for like the very next day or maybe that same night. You're not trying to set off like a week in advance, right? So if it's a week in advance, at some point, she'll probably hit you up and saying, hey, we're still doing the date. Let her do that, okay? But you setting the date, you should never be confirming a date, because I found in my practice that doing that typically makes women second guess themselves and second guess you and then fall off, right? So this woman said, I'm a woman. I'm not trying. Okay. I'm a woman and I definitely disagree, and many women will. If a man doesn't confirm a day before or on the day itself, I'm not going. So this is an example, guys, of a woman saying that she would do an action in a hypothetical situation. Because as I've said on the show before, if a woman has high interest, she's showing up for the date. If you don't confirm, she's confirming with you. She's reaching out to you to say, hey, do you want to make sure the date's still happening? Because highly interested women are always going to be doing things. They can't help it. It's not like you're enforcing them. They can't help but to do things that indicate that are trying to show you that they have a high interest. And if they have a high interest, they're going to be second guessing if you have interest in them, which means they're going to do things to double check to make sure that you aren't losing your interest in them, which means that, yes, even if you set up the date and you say, hey, great, date set, I meet you at this time, on this day, at this place, they're going to still be doubting, but maybe he won't show up. Maybe he changed his mind. Maybe he found somebody prettier on the dating apps or in his real life to where he's going to not show up at all. I got to check. And it's better for her to do it than you to do it. All right? So this woman means well, but again, she's talking about a hypothetical, because I assure you, if it was a cute, hot guy that checked all her boxes and he set up a date, she would not be complaining if he didn't hit her up. And that's across the board. And women will fight me on this all day. I've seen it too many times. I've seen too many women. Think about all the women that are like, I would never stay with an abusive guy. And then they hook up with a really attractive guy and he's abusing her left and right. And it's like, she won't leave. But she said that she would leave him. But that was in a hypothetical situation where there weren't feelings involved with an imaginary guy that didn't exist. Once the guy actually exists, it's a whole different story. So this is why you guys that are listening to women right now, like I know I used to have women friends that would try to tell me, well, you should do this because, or I would love it if a guy showed up on a date with flowers. Oh, I would love it if a guy wrote me a poem. And then I do that stuff in real life and the girl's like, oh my God. Girls that liked me, mind you, that had a crush on me. But then all of a sudden I start doing those things that I'm supposed to do as a guy, listening to my women friends, and now it's not working. So I really stress to you guys, I think women can give decent enough advice, but I find the majority of them are basing it on hypothetical situations that they themselves would not do. you know? So be mindful of that and try to really seek out guys that have actual dating success and listen to what those guys did. Because I'm sure that's how I got good at this. It's like I stopped listening so much to like the women stuff I was looking at and started looking at guys that were putting out content. And then I did that stuff and it worked. And a lot of it was going against the things that women said they wanted. Oh, if a guy didn't text me every day, if a guy didn't call me right after a date, blah, 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 blah. And I did none of that and got good results. So it is what it is. Sorry, girl. Sorry, lady. Anyway, let's see. Another one here. Okay. So this guy, I'm not sure this is the right one that I'm reading here. Okay. So this guy commented under my video titled, "These 8 simp behaviors ruin her attraction." And in that video, I said, if a woman doesn't text you for a day or two, don't call her out on it. I say quite frequently to you guys, calling out women on things. Let me rephrase that. Calling out women that aren't interested in you on things that they're doing to show that they're not interested is a wasted exercise. If you ask a girl on a date and she says, "I'm gonna show up," and then she flakes, you calling her out on that behavior when she meant to flake, what's the point? It's a wasted exercise. So this guy said, I like how when he's being sarcastic, I like how when this girl I was cool with for a year and a half is going through something, I'm supposed to support her and give her words of encouragement. But when my father died and the chick ghosted me for 2 months, when she told me she'd check on me and be supportive during that time because he was my last living immediate family member and I had no family and nobody else to support me during that time, then when she didn't do it and disappeared for 2 months, I'm supposed to be indifferent and act like nothing happened when she shows herself to be a crap person and just continue on acting like nothing happened the next time I talk to her. I agree with most red pill stuff, but that's some BS. A man can never call out a woman for being crappy or not keeping her word because that's, quote, simp behavior if you expect someone to be honest and keep their word. Like I said, I agree with most of this stuff, but this part is some BS. Well, here's the thing, guy. It's not I never said, well, here's the thing. The reason I don't believe in calling out women on their behavior is because guys act like the woman didn't know that what she was doing was going to be crappy or is going to cause him to think that she's pulling away. She's doing that intentionally because she's not interested. So because she's doing these actions that I now realize indicate that she's not interested, there's no need to call her out. But I also don't say, go back to those type of women. Like he's saying, the next time I talk to her, in my head, I'd be like, there'll be no next time. She said she was going to be there for me, and she wasn't. So now she's not a woman of her word. She's a liar, and that means that I cannot trust her. I don't feel the need to reach out to her anymore or to have her in my aura. So again, there'd still be no reason to call her out because at that point in time, there's no point in talking to her anymore. If you and so many guys hold on to this false hope of like, well, she did this thing to hurt my feelings, so I'm going to go in there, blah, 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 blah. And there's a difference, by the way, between calling out a woman who is actively trying to be with you, but is just doing some slip-ups here and there, and a woman that's doing stuff intentionally to pull away from you. If I'm dating a woman, for example, and she said she's going to be there for me, right? So she's there for me every single day. And then one day she says something that kind of like jolts me the wrong way. Well, okay, I got to call her out now. Hey, I'm not, and I do it with love. Hey, I'm not sure if you're aware of this. I think you generally care for me, but when you said this thing, or when you did this action to try to like look after me, it actually caused me to feel this way. And here's why. You can critique women in a loving way, but still critique them, right? But that's a woman that is in the process of trying to be there for me, made a mistake. But I can still recognize she's trying to be there for me. She has high interest in me. It's just she messed up. I'll call her out on that all day because women want to know what your boundaries and stuff are. But a woman that says, hey, I'll be there for you and never shows up and stops talking to me and ghosts me, she's not trying to be there. So why are you going to try to call out a woman that's not trying to be there in the first place? That is a wasted exercise of your time. And I get why we do it because they're thinking, even though she did this horrible thing, but I still want her. Hookups were still good. I still have a rapport. Oh, I can't break away from her. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and let her explain herself when she comes back. But she's not trying to come back. And she's doing that action in part subconsciously, hoping that you're going to recognize it and be mad at her enough to where now you're the one that's breaking it off, which means she doesn't have to be the bad guy. So that's why I say things like that. Why I say, if a woman doesn't text you for a day or two, you don't call her out. Also, in that particular thing, it's like when you first start dating a woman, she does not owe you texting you every single day. Like, I don't, because again, we fall hard, we fall fast. So after 1 or 2 days, we're thinking, now she needs to text me all the time. Oh, it's been 2 days. She didn't text me. Oh my God. But she doesn't owe you that conversation. She's still getting to know you. And for all you know, she could be getting to know 2 or 3 other dudes in an attempt to see which one's going to gel well with her, which means in the beginning, her communication is not going to right off the bat be texting you every single day. That is totally fine. That is a behavior that to her is going to be earned with more time. And the amazing part is, once you earn the behavior, women can't stop texting you, but you can't be butthurt in the beginning for not getting it right away. So that's also why you don't call women out, because you don't know what she has going on behind the scenes. I've had times where like I'm dating a girl and then all of a sudden I get busy for a couple of days. I got to go out of town. I go someplace where there's no reception. I don't want to get back. I remember I broke up with a girl one time because I had, some meth had broken into my apartment like years ago, and I had to go to court to testify against them. And I had told her the day before, I got to go to court tomorrow. So my phone will probably be off because in court, can't have your phone on. She forgot. So the next day, I'm in court like all day till like 3 o'clock. We went to the wrong room, so we didn't even get a chance to, we went to the wrong room, so I didn't get to testify against the guy. But the point is that I got there at like 8 in the morning, right? At 12:30, we had a break for lunch. I go to lunch, I check my phone, tons of messages. Hey, where are you? What's going on? Why aren't you talking to me? Are you with somebody else? Blah, 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 blah. Freaking the freak out. I had a legitimate reason to not text her back for a couple of hours, and she went crazy. So now you as the guy are going to be like, well, she didn't text me for a couple of days, and so, oh my God, like, if she can't reach out to me, it's not that anything else was going on, it's that she's trying to play games. And you don't know the situation. So calling her out, you're now trying to prejudge what you think is going on, or because of your low self-esteem, you're thinking, if she's not texting me every day, she must be falling off a like for me. Oh my God, I can't handle it. And it could be that, or it could be a plethora of other things, or it could be she needed a weekend without her phone, or she went to the mountain somewhere to be Zen for a bit, and she didn't tell you that she was a Zen person. Like, you don't know, but calling her out on it, I have yet to see in the history of called outum any guy that's been able to call out a woman that made her think, oh my God, you know what? You're absolutely right. I wasn't texting you about stuff. I'm going to start. That's never happened. So you could try to do it, but you're wasting your energy. Again, I'm all about making calculated moves that are going to get you the results that you want from women. You calling them out, whether they like you or not, doesn't ever help the situation. So why do it? So that's all I'm talking about. You know? Anyway, let me check out some of these newer comments. Dude, you're gonna have to like sign up for a consultation. You have a lot of questions. Like, you have a lot of questions. Let's see. I'm not sure if I asked for this. Okay. I'm not sure if I already asked this, but I really liked one of the girls who found out I was talking to a bunch of other girls, and she got mad. She blocked me on Snap, but not text. I sent her 2 huge apology messages. How do I recover? Will she text me again, or will she ignore me? I would say, leave her the heck alone. Like, I'm saying this is guy, I've been in your shoes. I've been the guy that was texting nonstop and sending letter after letter about why can't we be together, or I'm writing a poem, or I apologize for this and that, blah, 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 or you really hurt me, or this, whatever. And I found what worked was I left them alone for a couple of months. And the thing is this, you leaving them alone means actually even leaving them alone. It doesn't mean after 30 days, I'm going to check up on her. It means you leave her alone, you act like she doesn't exist. And I have found that doing that allows a woman to get to the headspace of like, oh, wait, he's giving me the freedom. He's not pestering me or forcing me to have to now talk to him. So in other words, it's now my choice to talk to this guy. You know what? That's great. God, I miss him. We had some great times together. He told that one funny joke one time. I wonder what he's up to. Like, you got to give women the space to do that. You hitting them all the time. This is where it goes into, it's really important, especially if you're a younger guy. The less is more. The less moving parts you have when trying to get with the woman, the better it's going to work out. You're going to look more confident. You're going to look like a more patient guy. You're not going to look like you're desperate or needy. Sending long paragraphs of messages looks needy. I'll give you a hint about texting. This is my texting book, but I'll give you a hint, right? You should not be texting women anything more than 4 lines of text at a time. Because on a phone, anything longer than that starts to look like you are a desperate guy that's needy for her attention. Keep it down to here. You should be saying no more than like 3 or 4 lines of text at most, all right? If it happens to go over that, then maybe text another thing. But like, again, we don't want you double and triple texting. So keep your text minimum. And again, I stress, you should really only be texting to get dates anyway. So if you're only texting to get dates, you can't be over texting. You can't be texting women apology letters if apology letters aren't what you're texting, because all you're texting is to get dates and to see if they're interested. That's it. You do that, Again, the less moving parts you can have when you're dating, the better results you're going to get. The less texting I found I did, the better results I got. The less I was asking women to hang out in the beginning, like I'm only having it once or twice a week, I found that made them come to me to ask me for more time. So you do less, so they'll do more. It's a very, very simple lesson, but it's one it took me 15 years to learn. Don't spend 15 years learning this crap. Real talk. Let's see. This guy asked a question. He said, hold on a second, let me get my drink here. All right. Got a question in the chat. He says, hey, Harry, there's a girl at work that has been showing me high interest for over a year, but as a boyfriend. What's up with that? Well, we are all attention whores. And so just like men like to know that they're wanted, women will get in relationships and still want to know they got it. Like guys will be like, I remember there's times like, I'll be in a relationship, right? And I'll go out somewhere like just to do whatever. And I'll see her go walking by and she gives me that like little extra stare, or I'll go to some service lady at some service desk and she'll be like a little extra friendly with me. And my ego's just like, still got it. Like I ain't got to be out there in the field to be doing stuff with anybody to still be like, but I still got it. And so women are the same way. Like women are in a relationship and after a while, they can start to feel like, man, like, my boyfriend finds me attractive because he has to, but like, do I still actually have it? And so sometimes they'll be a little flirty or they'll go out there just to see like, oh, okay, some guys are still fawning over me. Okay, this guy's still like, I still get him on the hook. I still got the moves. Especially as they get older, it gets worse. Like 20-year-old women are gonna be flirty, but like 30, 35-year-old women, more flirty because they really want to know if they still got it, right? So that's what's up with that. So that doesn't necessarily mean that she's interested, but if it did, would you actually want to date her? Because now you're going to be dating a girl that is going to be flirting with another guy. Should you start to be old hat for her? So you got to look out for that also, right? But there is flirtation that can just be playful without having it to mean anything. Like women will be flirtation with their girlfriends, So don't take that as a high sign of interest, but on the offense that she possibly could be interested, you got to be the one to be like, look, until you get rid of the boyfriend, like we ain't doing nothing, because I don't want you to be the guy that's trying to take over some other guy's woman because you wouldn't want that done to you, So hopefully it helps you out. All right, let's see what else we got here on the critique section here. So I had a guy, I think I had a good dialogue with, but he said under my video, 8 questions you don't lose points with her for not answering. He left a comment and said, it sucks that we are expected to jump through all these hoops. I'd rather just not play the game, which I'm sure a lot of you guys feel like when you're dealing with women. And so I said to him, I don't view it so much like jumping through hoops as I do having to learn how to interact with people that think and act differently than I do, which to some extent we all do when getting to know the various people in our lives. And yet we take it more personally when it's someone we're trying to get romantic with. But ultimately, relationships are a skill set. And like with everything we get good at, it means being willing to fail at it a bit before we get better results. And then he said, okay, I can buy that, but it's still a bunch of unnecessary nonsense. Most guys I know of, including myself, are honest, straightforward, and have no patience for such games. It's pretty silly if you ask me, but I thank you for answering me. And then he goes into some other stuff. So yeah, guys, and I'll probably end up rereading this message from my show about guys falling for women really, really fast. But it's true. It's like guys feel as though we're having to jump through hoops in order to get to know women. You're watching this channel, obviously. So it's like, oh, here's how to approach women. Here's how to talk to women. Here's why you should text her or not text her. Here's why you wait this long, blah, 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 blah. Here's how to get in her good graces. Here's how to do and so it can very much feel like if you're, especially when you start getting into dating, it can very much feel like there's a game that's being played and she knows the rules to the game and we're new players and nobody's telling us the rules. She has all the rules. She could tell us, but you know what? It's more fun for her if we just figure it out. It can be very frustrating. And I get that, but I also get, men take it extra personal when it's getting to know women or getting to know women that we like or want to get with, right? But it's literally the same process you go through when you're trying to get with a woman you want to get with is the same process that you go through when you're meeting new friends for the first time. I've had new guy friends that I've met and new female friends, when you first go up to them, you're trying to talk to them, you're trying to build rapport, you're trying to get to know them, you're trying to see if there's a vibe there that's going to make you want to be around this person a lot longer. And yet, men are totally fine with that when it comes to like trying to build friendships. But somehow, when it gets to relationships, all of a sudden it's like, no, the woman's playing games. Why do I have to do all the work? And we understand women are doing their part. Like, women are making themselves readily available to be interacted with. Not, okay, somebody's going to call me out. So I'll say the women that you're able to actually talk to, it indicates that she's opened herself up to be willing to have a conversation with you and get to know you in some capacity. Where most men trip up is we are thinking it's the woman's job to now let us know if she likes us or not. And we're basing that because we're thinking after first meeting them, we already like them. So since I already know that I like her, then she should know if she likes me enough to want to do some other stuff. And I'll do this in a later show. I really want to get on the show about how fast guys fall for women. I'll probably do this sometime this week because it ties into also I want to talk about now, right? But suffice to say, like, men think that we're judging women the same way, that they're judging us the same way, meaning like, we already know we like you, so if she wants it to be a thing, she'll let me know. And women don't come from that angle. They come from the angle of, okay, I'm having this interaction, let's see where he wants to take it. And so many men are afraid that they put it into the, I'm going to be your friend first, and that's where it goes. Because you decided you're going to try to do the friendship angle first versus taking it down a path of what could potentially be romantic. Now, the problem guys have is we think if we start trying to take it down that pathway, it means that we're telling her we already are feeling those things. And if we're not sure of ourselves yet, then it's not going to work out. But the more you're able to come at dating from the perspective of everything's a maybe. In the beginning, it's all maybes. For her, it's like, maybe it'll be a relationship or maybe it'll be a friendship. Let's see where this goes. So you should be approaching her the same way. Whoa, this has been a good conversation. You know what? I'd be curious to see where this goes. So let's go chat somewhere by ourselves and see what's what, you know? And then that is literally the first 3 months of dating. It's just trying to see what's what, seeing if you gel, which is why you should be holding off on your decision to tell her that you like her or that you're interested in a relationship 3 months. And you wait until she brings it to your attention. Because it's funny, I talk to my mom about this stuff sometimes, quite often actually. And she brought up to me that like when at the point that she decided to start dating my dad, their first date, he already knew that he wanted her. Like he was like, that's my wife. And even though she really had interest in him, she needed more time. So he waited until she came to him and kissed him first and said, hey, I really like you, this is that, before he said, oh yeah, we should totally do it, be a thing. But he knew day one. Now, some guys would think, but that's lying. He wasn't honest. No, he just didn't tell all the information because she needed to build up her interest. So he didn't need to tell her at that moment that he had a high interest and wanted to marry her, because saying that after one date is going to typically chase most women away. And so you have to look at what is in the best interest for the woman in this scenario. Now, this goes back to this guy saying, oh, we got to jump through hoops. It's not, again, I talk to you guys about making calculated moves. If you're making calculated moves at the right time, you're not going to be jumping through hoops. You're going to know what moves to make and when. And you're going to also be able to recognize when she's ready for the next step in the evolution of your relationship to happen. But so many guys go into dating like, I got to get what I want out of this. And all they focus is on what they want. And if they're doing enough to get, and you're not looking at the full picture of, but like in the scope of us both, these are two people here. You're two people that are trying to ideally build towards a relationship. What do both people need out of this interaction to make that happen? And if you go into it thinking about just what you want, then you're going to be thinking you got to do all these things because you're going to be doing all these things that as a guy you think should work that don't actually work. So yeah, you're going to be jumping through hoops because you're going to be doing a lot more work than you actually need to in order to get into a relationship based on what you think should be happening versus what's actually going to work, you know? Let's see. And then this last, we got one more here, down here. Let's see this. Okay. Yeah, so this last one here, this is the last comment that I had here. That if there's any more things in the chat, I will answer them. So this guy left a comment. He just said, from my cynical viewpoint, it is a wonder that men still give a crap about dating at all. It is a game to women and it isn't fun. Well, that's not true. I mean, because women are, you keep in mind, just because both sexes are coming from a different perspective, it doesn't mean that one has an advantage over the other. Because there are plenty of roadblocks that women have. Like, we're all about, we can just have sex anytime, but they are designed to be like, I got to like pace this out. I got to worry about what guys want me for sex versus want me for my actual self. And like, that comes with its own psychological set of challenges and things. So just because we think we have it hard on our side, newsflash guys, women have things they deal with that we would never have to deal with. That doesn't make it harder or easier. It just makes it different. Okay. But anyway, he says, it isn't fun. If I have to win or lose, I'm not even going to begin. Love is freely given, not earned. That is a lie. Love is very much an earned thing. And for a guy to think that he can go on 1 or 2 good dates and the woman should just automatically love him, that is a big mistake. Because too many women have tried that in the past and got extremely burned, like, by having a kid with a guy that didn't actually be there for them long term, And so you got to look at it like that. And then he says, men shouldn't chase women until the woman chases the man. Then you are allowed to chase her to a degree. It's all BS. Well, my response to that was, light went up. My response to that was, actually, at no time should a man ever be chasing a woman. A man should be showing genuine care for her and taking her out, but chasing after her is what usually results in her running for the hills. Men should present themselves in a way that makes a woman feel he is the best option so that she wants to chase him. And there should be a point where she feels she's caught you, but could still lose you at any point if she's not keeping up to your standards. That's the hard part men have, is believing that they are valuable enough to find someone else if the woman that currently wants them starts to act out. So they stay in a scarcity mindset. And then he said, taking her out and planning dates and getting her surprises is my idea of chasing. So this is where guys get mixed up, because guys think, well, if I'm asking her out and paying for stuff and yada, 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 then that must mean I'm chasing. But girls say they want that. They want the guy to ask for a date and be the leader and blah, 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 blah. And they want them to text us and call them. So therefore, that's chasing, right? That is not chasing. That is showing an interest in a person and putting out your bid for wanting to get to know them, okay? But chasing, because I said to him, when most men chase, it means they are usually calling/texting all the time, telling her about feelings, trying to see her every single day, overextending themselves. And we're doing this because we think we have to do this to get them, right? So what we're doing in the process is we're not leaving them space to come to us. We're not giving them the space to actually give them a chance to show us their interest in us by also texting us, by calling us, by doing things, And I said, most men do this stuff after 1 or 2 dates, which puts pressure on her. Anything that puts pressure on a woman to feel like she's being forced to spend time with or choose a guy is chasing. You can ask women on dates and it not be about chasing them, or you can ask them out in a way that makes them feel like your whole world will come crashing down if they say no, which then makes it chasing. So guys, it's perfectly fine to pursue a woman and to ask her out and to show her a good time. Those things I do not consider chasing. Your definition may vary, but to me, that is not chasing. Chasing is an act of desperation because you're running after her like Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, like, oh, please come after me. Oh, please come back. And if you're chasing her, it means she's running from you. You don't want to date women that are running from you because they're not helping you to get them. But oftentimes you guys are doing the most. And women understand that if those actions are not earned, that they don't understand why you are showing those actions, which again, I'll go over in a later show. But suffice to say that most women are taking their time and are being a little bit more even keel and a bit low key when it comes to dating. And she ideally is getting the same stuff from you, but that's because they're doing their due diligence because they want to get to know you. So when we're going to judge how you're dating them based on how they're feeling about things, does this mean that you have to date the way they want you to date? No, but it does mean that you need to recognize when you're not patient, it makes them feel certain things. And a lot of that feeling is like the ick factor or the neediness factor or these other things that historically have brought women harm. And they don't want that, So it's not about and again, I don't teach you guys to chase women. This guy saying men shouldn't chase women until the woman chases them and then blah, blah, then you chase back. You don't chase back because you always want to have her having a little bit more interest in you than you have in her anyway, because you want her constantly coming to you for affection and seeking you out. It's the guys that start overdoing that lose. And I know guys think, but if I have a lot of interest, I should be able to do blah, 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 blah. This is why I tell you guys the thing of women feel things 3 times more, because in order for your effort to feel balanced, it's 1/3. You text her, you initiate 1 text to her 3 texts. You say, I love you once to her 3 I love yous. That to her is going to feel balanced. When you do more than that, Now it feels like chasing. Now it feels like too much. And now she's going to lose interest. At least, again, that's been my experience, the experience of guys I've coached. If your results vary, fantastic. You have the 1% of women out there that don't mind you texting all the time, calling all the time, seeing her every single day. But especially in the beginning part of dating, that's typically not what's going to be the norm. Know what I mean? All right. Let's see. I got time for one more question. Yes. Let's see. We got a question here in the chat. And the question goes, did you ever make the mistake of almost staying too mysterious when trying to get to know a woman, or ever too distant when meeting someone? All right. So I'll give you the honest answer here, right? Part of the reason that you do that is to test to see what level of sanity the woman has and what level of emotional stability she has. So to the point, right? I've dated women where that first date, I show her a good time. I wait 4 to 7 days to contact her for the next date, hit her up. Hey, let's go out again. Oh man, that's so great. I'd love to see you again. Boom, we go out. That's how it should be. Now, I've also dated women, go out on a date, have a good time, wait like 4 or 5 days, hit her up. Hey, so-and-so, I want to see if you're free this weekend. I don't know. I mean, you waited 4 days to text me, like, what's up with that? Blah, 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 blah. What have I just discovered? I've now discovered a woman that is not emotionally stable and is not patient and is only going to be happy if she's getting the exact way that she wants. And if she doesn't, she's going to throw a hissy fit. And I have now figured out a woman that I don't want to date. So to answer your question, part of the reason you are patient is because you want to find out early on the women that aren't going to be good for you. And I have found that women are going to be butthurt or throw a hissy fit if you wait just 4 days to contact them, are generally going to be the ones that are hard to deal with in relationships. And so you want that to happen. You want a woman to get distant on you if you are suddenly like not giving away all about yourself right away or not texting her all the time, because those are the women that are going to be harping on you nonstop. And like, I go back to the woman I was talking about earlier, the one that got mad because I was in court and like, I couldn't pick up my phone. She was texting me constantly nonstop. And she'd be like, what'd you do today? What did you hook up with anybody? Blah, blah. Like, she was very, very insecure. So a woman that's not able to handle me not telling my entire life story after 2 or 3 dates is a woman that's insecure, probably has some baggage in the past, is probably been hurt to where she can't trust guys all the way. You want to do these things to suss those women out, because those women are going to be very, very hard to deal with, you know? So you don't lose points for women going away for you not calling her for 4 days. Because again, as I said before, just like I've said, there are legit reasons why women sometimes can't text you like for a day or two. There are legit reasons why you as a guy might not be able to reach her for 4 days. Hey, I've had it where if I'm dating 3 or 4 other women at the time, yeah, my attention is focused elsewhere, but also I've had projects I've worked on. I've had times where I've gone out of the state, out of the country to where I can't do that. And so if women are understanding that things pop up where maybe you don't call or text all the time, you don't want to deal with that woman, because I promise you she'll be harder to deal with in the long run. Also, appreciate the compliments on the dancing. If you saw the video I did where I talk about learning how to dance, guys, I'm telling you, like, learning how to dance is going to be one of the best ways for you as a guy to get women to approach you. Whether it's if you're in school, a school dance, if you're an adult going to clubs or whatever like that, like just learn some basic dance moves. And then when you go to these dances, when you go to clubs, I assure you, because most guys aren't trying to make a fool of themselves. And so they're just standing on the wall, or they're going up to girls trying to help them in the back. But I found having some legit dance moves in my arsenal, the club stops. The dance floor stops. Everybody looks at me dancing around. And then when I'm doing my little dance moves, women come up to me and want to challenge dance me or want to turn around and start dancing with me. Like, really, really, I stress, guys, if you are having a hard time approaching women in these various environments, just like the guy said in that video, learn how to dance. You will save yourself so much time and effort, because again, we're about what? Learning the right moves to make your dating life easier. Learning how to dance is one of those things. So hopefully, guys, this helps you guys out. Thank you so much for watching this show and for supporting this show. Again, if you got any value out of what you heard today, you can leave a super chat. You can leave a Cash App at $ Harry Wilmington. Anything you guys leave, I greatly appreciate. Also, go to the website if you want to sign up for coaching. We got ebooks, audiobooks, various programs. I forgot to announce this too. I put this in the newsletter. So sign up at my website for the newsletter. But my introvert dating success program, I originally had it as like a video program / one-on-one coaching program, and it's like in the thousands of dollars. But I realized that some of you guys may be like, look, I can get this stuff on my own. I can self-teach myself. Just give me the materials and I'll go through it. So I now have a version of the Introvert Dating Success Academy at the website that is drastically reduced in price, and you can go through it by yourself versus me helping you. So again, go to the website and check that out. That program is something that's based on my years of being a successful dater and knowing how to time and time again get into relationships should I need to use that. All right. So check that all out, the website. Thank you so much for watching this episode, guys. I'll be back next week with another episode. In the meantime, check out during the week. I put out a daily show now called Harry Dating Conversations, which is where you're seeing all these new videos come from. And I do that one not live because the video quality is better. Like I shoot that in 4K, whereas on streaming, they still haven't gotten 4K figured out yet. So, but yeah, check those shows out. And if you guys have anything you want me to talk about on those shows, leave comments or write to me at harrywilmington@gmail.com. That's all I got. I'm Harry Wilmington, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Peace.
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high